We live in an ocean of air. It's not just a metaphor. There are waves around us all the time. Matter of fact, you're hearing my voice right now. Why? Because waves. Waves are coming out of my mouth and going into your ears. It's a pretty amazing thing. You want me to explain it to you? It is a science class, isn't it? Let me explain it to you. Below my lungs, I have a diaphragm. As I contract it, it causes my lungs to fill with air, and then as it releases, it forces the air out of my lungs, and they go up past my larynx. And there are some vocal cords there, these little flaps of skin, and I can cause the vocal cords to become very long, and when they're very long, I talk like this. But I can change them where they're very high, and where they're very small. It creates a very high frequency like this, and it comes out through my mouth, and as it's passing through my mouth, you see how my tongue's flapping around? My tongue's flapping around in my mouth. That's changing the shape of this air column that's coming out of my mouth and creating certain pressure waves. They're going out from my mouth. They have not only a frequency, but have a certain shape to them. And they're going out through this whole room and even through the walls and beyond. But some of the sound is bouncing back and it's causing that echoing effect. But some of it's being captured by your ears. These funnels on the side of your head, they're capturing some of those sound waves, like waves in the ocean. And they're going into your outer ear and going in through all of the hairs and all the wax and everything. And then in the middle... Okay, a little bit too much detail. But there's a separation between your outer and inner ear, which is a tympanic membrane, a little flap of skin that covers your ear canal. And as that pressure wave hits on the outside of that tympanic membrane, it causes it to vibrate, just like the head on a drum. And it vibrates with the same frequency that I'm producing from my lips and my mouth. And inside of your inner ear, there are three bones, the hammer and the anvil and the stirrup, and they form like a little hinge, and the stirrup is actually like a fist, and it's knocking on the outside of this little seashell type structure inside of your head called the cochlea. And inside the cochlea is this thick fluid. In the very center of the cochlea is this spiral column, the columella, and on the inside of that, in this thick fluid, are these hair cells that are like bristles on a toothbrush. And as the thick fluid moves past the hair cells, they move back and forth in that current. And so the movement of those hair cells is the same movement that's in the thick fluid, which is the same movement of the hammerings on the outside of the cochlea, which is the same movement that's caused by the pressure waves coming out of my mouth. And so you have these hair cells moving back and forth with that same frequency. And that movement, that kinetic energy, is transmitted into an electrical impulse, which goes into your auditory nerve, which goes to your brain and interprets all of that as the words you're hearing right now. So we understand it. Does that make it any less miraculous? Personally, I think not. As a matter of fact, the very fact that we understand it shows how amazing it is. And I haven't even got to the real mystery, and that is how you actually understand that wave as things inside of your head going from my head into your head by a word. And it's happening how fast? You see my mouth moving? How fast is all that happening? Like that. I don't know. People talk about how science has taken all the miracles out of the world. It's just because they don't have eyes to see. Cover of your textbook, earth is crammed full of heaven. Only he who sees takes off his shoes. The rest sit around and pluck blackberries. It's an amazing, miraculous world. A miracle is happening right this very minute. And we just don't see it. And it's happening because surrounding us inside this room is an ocean of air. And if we took it all away, then it would sound like this. So if you need to thank God for something, thank him for air, because that allows us to talk.